You start a new writing project. It's exciting to see the words flow onto the page. You write 10,000 words, 50,000 words. You can feel yourself cresting the hill, approaching the moment of critical mass where your ideas become real, when they finally congeal into a fully formed thing. And then one morning you sit down to write, and everything just stops. Your words don't flow onto the page. Your momentum falters. And those ideas, the ones that were so close to being more than just ideas, vanish from your mind completely. You stare at your screen. Your word count stares back at you, unchanged, immovable. As if to add insult to injury, the cursor joins in, blinking and blinking and blinking, mocking you, taunting you. You slam your laptop shut. Remind yourself everyone has an off day. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow isn't different. And neither is the next day, or the next day, or the next day. A full week goes by, then another one. And that stupid cursor won't stop blinking. With every passing day, you become more and more certain that your career as a writer is over, gone, dead. You're officially out of ideas. You'll never write again. Not well, anyway. Maybe someone will hire you to write social media captions or those horrible clickbait blogs. 10 reasons why you're a terrible writer and were stupid for thinking you could ever do this in the first place. Yeah, it's kind of catchy. You tell yourself it could be worse. It's not that bad. But it feels bad. It all feels bad. I know because I've been there, or more accurately, I am there, on week 11 of a writing rut. 77 days of this. 1,848 hours of this. Step 1. Don't panic. Panicking is the worst thing you can do, because once you start to panic, you're going to keep panicking, and that panicking is going to spiral until you're panicking about the fact that you're panicking, especially when you know you shouldn't be panicking, because panicking is the worst thing you can do. So whatever you do, don't panic. Don't even think about panicking. In fact, it might be best to avoid thinking altogether. The good news is that humans have made great strides in the advancement of anti-thinking technology. These are your lifelines, the only things separating you from existential despair. Cling to them. Don't let go. When these stop working, look for other distractions. Take a weekend trip. Maybe the change of scenery will help. Eat new foods. Expand your horizons. Go to a fishing supply store. That's new. Discover that fishing supply stores are really just craft stores for men. Briefly remember what it feels like to be inspired and get so swept up in the heady rush of creativity that you buy a selection of fishing lures. You don't need a selection of fishing lures. You don't need any fishing lures at all. Let the exhilaration of possibility sweep through you. Consider how you'll remove the hooks when you get home. Consider what you might make once the de-hooking process is complete. A keychain, maybe. That could be fun. In fact, you could make lots of keychains. Lots and lots of keychains. From those beads you've been carrying around in a 30-year-old plastic bag. You know, the ones from your childhood. The ones that make you remember how creatively free you felt when you were a kid. You made lots of keychains back then. Remember boondoggle? Bead lizards? You should make one of those. Turns out it's harder than you remember. Most things are. You miss being a kid. You were happier than you think, though it's hard to know. So you dig up all of your old home videos and watch every single one. You were definitely happier then, you decide, which makes you want to be more like that version of yourself. Unafraid to try new things, to put yourself out there.
7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 14, 16, 11, 12, 14, 16.
You vow to be more like that now, to challenge yourself, to pick up a new skill, like learning how to do drywall. That seems like a good place to start. It takes you 5 weeks, but you finally retexture a single room of your house. Your body is exhausted, but for once your mind is quiet and the satisfaction is immense. You paint your gloriously smooth walls. Learn how to swap an electrical outlet. Install a new light fixture.
Ooh, that's nice.
You feel energized, capable, in control of your own destiny. You realize you should chase that feeling. It might be the key. So you paint another room in your house. You think about skim coating the drywall in that room too, but you don't really want to. Turns out it's harder than you expected. Most things are. So you stick to painting. And while you're painting, you watch professional wrestling for the first time. You're not sure why. You gain an appreciation for the showmanship, the pageantry. You decide you want to be Ric Flair for Halloween.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
You also decide you're going to make your own robe, and you spend the next 3 days shopping for rhinestones on the internet. You watch more professional wrestling for inspiration. You realize it's a soap opera. You realize somebody wrote it. You remember how it used to feel back when you wrote things too. Suddenly, you feel sad. You realize you've ruined professional wrestling for yourself and turn to other distractions. You become obsessed with shopping for vintage motocross jerseys on eBay. Watch a single makeup tutorial and order glittery purple eyeshadow so you can look like Chelsea from The White Lotus. You try running. Or you at least think about trying running. You read a good book and realize you might be into Westerns. Turns out you're really, really into Westerns. You decide you should own a pair of cowboy boots, so you spend 2 full days looking for vintage boots in your size. You order a pair from eBay and feel momentarily like a new person. You ride this emotional upswing and make plans to go line dancing. You've never been line dancing before. It's harder than you expected. Most things are. You realize none of this has gotten you any closer to being able to write again and start to reevaluate your strategy. Maybe distraction wasn't the solution. You vow to get organized, to create a system for productivity, a foolproof way to flatten out the seemingly inevitable ups and downs of the creative process. You just have to figure out what that is. When you do, maybe you'll make a YouTube video about it. You think about all the ways your video might help people. Feels good. So you start working on it. You write a script and record footage. Dust off the video editing skills you had to learn for that last soul-crushing job you had. At some point, you realize you've inadvertently created a YouTube channel and you should probably make more videos. Record more footage. Write more scripts. You haven't written in a long time, but you feel kind of excited about it. Suddenly full of ideas. The next morning, you sit down to write and nothing happens. You stare at your screen, at the blank page, at that stupid cursor, blinking and blinking and blinking. And then something does happen. You open your writing project. You know, the one you abandoned all those weeks ago. It hasn't changed. And for a minute, you just stare at the screen, at the cursor, blinking right where you left it. Then, for the first time in 3 months, you start to write.